Indecisive Cinema, episode 26.
26, yeah.
Yeah, we're
26 episodes.
really rolling these out. What have you been up to?
The past 2 weeks has just been getting ready. My daughter's quinceañera is coming up soon, so we've been preparing for that. Learning the dances and stuff. Me and Rhonda were doing that yesterday. Went to traffic, did my driver safety course, which was interesting.
You didn't drive before you got to Texas, right?
Yeah, I was thrown into driving when I came to Texas, but it was actually something. It was like because I haven't had a speeding ticket since 2014. What happened was Gloriana was sick, and I dropped off JC, so I had to turn in front of the school to go toward the hospital, and unfortunately, I was driving 35. It's just that during school we have to drive 20, so I didn't realize it because I was worrying about glow. And so I ended up getting a ticket. So I went to driver safety course instead because I didn't want to fight the ticket because Webster police are the worst. And it was fun. When you do those drive, you can pick like a comedy club or whatever. I ended up going to Golden Corral. And my instructor, I had him last year when I had the light infraction. And he was funny. He's an old man who just like goes on tangents. And, instead of learning about driver safety, we end up learning about the good old days of Texas. But
nothing wrong with that. I think I took mine online last time I did it, and it was just so cringy and terrible.
That's why, it's cheaper online. It's $25 online, but I'd rather be out and about, living life. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and you have to get to mail off the certificate and everything.
Yeah, I don't want
and if you have to expedite it, it gets pretty expensive, but...
How about your weddings?
Oh, yeah, by the way, that was Carlos Hernandez.
Oh, yes, I always do that.
Co-host. We're terrible about introducing
we never introduce
know
ourselves.
how to open these little fucking episodes.
We're going to put a script next time.
Yeah. I'm Jeremy Knight. I've been shot since the last time. I think we've shot 3 weddings. So I made a little bit of money, and I saw, speaking of comedy or funny things, I saw Joe List. He's I think he's a Boston comic, but he's based out of New York. Him and his wife came to town, the Secret Group, and he's just a really fucking hilarious dude.
So you saw him live?
Yeah, he's actually on Netflix of the stand-ups. He's in, I think it's the 2nd season. I think he headlines the 2nd season.
Okay.
And he's just really, really like, not deadpan, but really dry kind of Boston humor. Yeah. And his wife is really fucking funny, too. I'm going blank on her name, Sarah something. She has a weird last name. But they're both fantastic.
They're both comedians. Interesting.
Yeah, and I'm assuming they met doing comedy. But he does a podcast called Tuesdays of Stories with Mark Normand, who's another great. I think he's a New York comic as well, at least at the moment. But they're just both of them are so funny, and he has a great show. So I also went to Austin and saw one of my favorite bands called Rebel Bucket. They're like a kind of a New Orleans style jazz. But they're like a pop band, but with a lot of jazz influence. And so they have like brass, like 2 trumpet players, and they do they did a whole second line dance to the merch table at the end of the show, and it was a fantastic show. And anytime like a band like that plays, it's better. Like I was glad I drove to Austin to see them because they put on a better show for Austin.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Because they draw a better crowd and just there's way better energy. So I had a great time, but. So I just took a day trip to Austin. I was busy the past couple weeks. Yeah.
That was on a weekend or?
I was on a weekday.
On a weekday, interesting.
I drove up and my buddy Alex, I don't know if I've ever mentioned him. He's a drummer and he's in the band that they also had a show.
Yeah, you told me.
Cecil, yeah. I've known him for like 10 years, and I do photos and video for them. So they had a show this past week too. So I've also been completely addicted to Magic the Gathering, like a fucking nerd.
What? Get out of here! The game, the actual card game. How? Like your brother, or
one of my buddies that is kind of in the same crowd as the band that I just mentioned. He's played Magic for a long time and got me like into it because I didn't know that I loved card games, but I definitely love card games and. Especially nerdy ones like that.
Serious.
I think I logged 50 hours on the mini game inside of The Witcher 3 called Gwent because I was just obsessive about it. So it's no surprise that I like Magic because it's a great card game, but it's also very fucking expensive to play. So.
Yeah, you gotta get sets and stuff like that.
But it's fun.
Yeah,
it's really fun.
You should do now. You should go to one of those like Gerard games off there on El Dorado where they close the shop at night and all these guys just do it overnight.
Yeah, there's a few. There's one down by me too. I forgot. It's like Empire Central, and then there's one in Pearland called Montagues. It's really great. So it's so weird too. Like that like people get together. And do that.
I've seen that.
Like on a daily basis too. It's like every weeknight those guys are out there playing cards.
We went to Tyler, Texas, and I went looking. Every time we go on vacation, I go look for a comic shop and buy from the local comic shop. And in this comic shop, like in the back, it was a big, huge room, and it had all these guys. And again, I'm not trying to put it down. I mean, but nobody was younger than 25, 26, and they were just sitting there, and they had their bottles of Red Bull and Jolt, and they were just playing nonstop. It was like for hours. And while we were there, I was just fascinated by this. But yeah, I've never been into like like Pokemon and stuff like that, like card game thingies. But I'm fascinated watching it. I mean, it's fun.
It's great. As a collector, I feel like it's something that you'd enjoy. I don't know.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, because like this kid corrects Pokemon cards, stuff like that. And I mean, think about it. I mean, this Pokemon cards are worth thousands of dollars. I mean, yeah. So as a collector, yeah, I see that, and I do appreciate that. Yeah,
but it's fucking expensive. So.
It is.
But it's a great game. Anyway, we're moving on to just a little bit of news. Not really news, but just the new Star Wars trailer came out.
Yes.
I like Star Wars a lot. I think
I like that. I love
I mean, I'm not like I wouldn't call myself a huge fan of Star Wars. Like because anybody that actually likes Star Wars would tell me I'm not.
Agreed. Yeah.
But at the same time, like I do really like the most recent films. Like I'm a huge fan of the most recent films from J.J. Abrams and Ryan Johnson. Yeah. And so I've been really happy, and I'm excited for these. Just even though most people don't like them, especially true Star Wars fans. But it's funny. So I have two questions regarding this though. So I mean, overall, what do you think about the trailer?
It's funny because my boy Blue Colin sent me the link while I was at work, and I really didn't even see it. So I just started like messing with him because he loves Star Wars. I was like, meh, whatever. And then like on my break, I watched it. I'll be honest, that the first viewing blew me away. I actually enjoyed it. Rey's Jedi flip over, Kylo's TIE fighter.
Are we assuming it's Kylo? Is it the gloves?
Yeah, no, because later on you see him repairing the mask that the Darth mask, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely Kylo. I mean, the only other thing because of the ending, the whole surprise ending, would be that it's Darth Vader, but that don't make sense. So it has to be Kylo.
I hope it's not Darth Vader.
But that's what I said. I was like, well, it's definitely Kylo. But I was telling Ron, I said, imagine. I said, being that the Emperor does the little cackle at the end, that they're back, whatever. I mean, again,
Media did something. They did a video this past day where it's like no one's ever really gone, and it's like
yes, that's what he says.
It's a compilation of a bunch of Star Wars deaths, and with Plinkett's voice going, "No one's ever really gone." It's a fucking great video, but because it's like do we need to bring back every fucking character that's ever been in the history of cinema?
And I'll say this because I don't know if you remember when Disney bought Star Wars, they told you, oh well, this is all the canon from before. So comic books, novels, video games, they don't matter anymore. You got like they did with Star Trek, and we're starting from scratch. So then we see part one, but they keep mentioning things that may have happened before. Now, why I say this? Because if you are,
when you say part one, you're talking about episode 7.
So no, when we see the new whatever we call these, what do we call these? The new trilogies or Skywalker saga? I guess that's what they're calling it now.
I have no
so
idea.
J.J. Abrams films. When Disney bought them and started making new films, they said that all the comic books, all the novels, all the video games aren't part of the canon or lore, the extended universe. That disappeared. But then when we watched it, we're like, well, then how is this? Then how are they doing that? And then we see Solo, and who appears at the end of Solo? Darth Maul. And I'm like...
Spoilers.
I'm like, but Darth Maul is only alive because... So anyway, so now we see this, and Emperor's laughing. And I'll be honest, I got chills. I thought that was amazing. But again, why? Because I'm like, oh yeah, I remember in the comic book they brought him back, and in this novel he came back, and I'm like, well, wait, Disney, you said that don't make sense. So now all they're doing is stealing from the extended universe they said not to pay attention to, and doing it to bring it fresh.
I mean, but to play devil's advocate though, I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
they're even though they may be borrowing from material that they don't think is canon, I mean I mean, ultimately they're making it canon by bringing it to, you know.
Agreed. I understand that, but then
it allows them to kind of do whatever they want in regards to, you know, like they can follow or not follow stories from the extended universe, which I'm okay. Like I'm okay with that from a standpoint of like,
because you're not.
I don't care about. I mean, there's definitely some really interesting stories in the extended universe. Some of those books I've read, not recently, but you know, I mean, there's definitely a lot of fun stuff that happens in those books and whatnot that people love those. But it's just like comics though, to some degree, where you know they don't necessarily borrow exactly from a particular book, but it's like heavily influenced by, which, you know, is definitely for good or for bad.
That's how you know Jeremy's a filmmaker. He says, definitely it's influenced by, it's like homage. Like Tarantino says, like, I'm homaging all my favorite, but basically he's like, taking that idea. He's stealing it.
Nolan, which Batman, Dark Knight Rises was...
The Dark Knight Rises,
basically, what was the comic book that was based off, the graphic novel that was based off of?
It was more based on Nightfall than anything else, but also the Dark Knight Rises, technically.
Frank Miller one, right?
Frank Miller, but it's more like the Nightfall story by Doug Mensch and Kelly Jones than anything else.
It's kind of like there's like influences of both, which again, you know, I know you don't like those, which you're wrong about, but...
and luckily 5 years, how many years later? Oh my gosh, almost 10, 15 years later. There is now a community as big as the ones who love it, that hate it and know how bad it is. The ones who accept Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton as the only Batman. But anyway, let's not get into that fight. But yeah, but I hear what you're saying. And it's same thing, but look what happened with J.J. Abrams' reimagining of Star Trek. Not that I don't mind. I love J.J. Abrams' Star Trek.
I really like those.
And I can see like Back to the Future breaking off into alternate universes, but so much that, you know, Paramount was like, well, you know what? Let's just do Discovery and we'll just go back to what we originally thought of. So Discovery is within the original Star Trek universe. J.J. Abrams is not even regarded. And I think that's cool. I mean, I enjoy both. I love the original universe, Roddenberry's universe, but I also do like what J.J. Abrams did with the Star Trek universe as well. And I can always see it as that, like you know how Marvel has Earth 616 and their universes and DC has their multiverses. You could just look at as J.J. Abrams as this alternate timeline of Star Trek and enjoy it, and I do. I love them. But yeah, that's how I see. I just think Disney should have just kept their mouth shut. And if someone said it, they said, "Oh yeah, well we're not really looking at extended universe," and leave it at that. Don't say, "Oh yeah, no, that all goes away," and then borrowing or influence or homaging something else. Because again, I don't know how they're going to bring back the Emperor. I don't know what that's about. Maybe that's just a MacGuffin. Maybe that's it's not even. It's just going to be like a flashback or something. I don't know. But again, if they do bring him back, I think it's kind of cheesy that this is the end of this saga, but they bring back the Emperor for what, another series of the. The only thing I can think is Grand Admiral Thrawn, which he was a clone of the Emperor. I mean, if that's what they're going to do, that should be fine because that's a great story too. But I don't know. I loved it. I loved the trailer. I like that little tease at the end. I like that now we have something to look forward to, even though Rian Johnson's series has nothing to do with that. So I was thinking maybe that was going to lead into Rian Johnson's stories, but it's not. So I don't know. I look forward to it. I mean, and like you said, you're not a big fan. So you like them.
The most recent series. I mean,
you are. So you do love J.J.
The last one was on my top 10 list the year it came out, which I mean,
The Last Jedi.
I like them for the pure spectacle. Like, I mean, we don't get movies like that very often. So. They're not perfect, but I think like J.J. Abrams, the first what's the
Force Awakens?
Yeah, I think that's just a great movie. Like I think it's a great adventure sci-fi film. Like I really love it.
And The Last Jedi, I know the diehard fans because like 10 again, you want to go back 10, 15 years ago, people were hating on the trilogy, the prequels.
Oh, those are bad.
And as a Star Wars fan, I fight all the true Star Wars fans. I enjoy them as well. Yes, there's a lot of horrible things in it, but there was a lot of good things in it. And like with this, and like you said, there are people now because of The Last Jedi. Oh, there's an abomination, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I love The Last Jedi. I mean, granted, should they have killed Luke? No, it was stupid to do that. But other than that, I think the film is solid. I think up until that point where Luke dies, that's why they're all crying about it. Everything else was fine. And again, obviously,
there's some kind of clunky dialogue and stuff that I don't like, but overall,
in Last Jedi,
yeah. But I mean, like I don't know. There's a joke on I forget if it was like The Onion or what, but it was like a bunch of fans that band together to start a Kickstarter to raise $150 million to make a movie, so they can realize how fucking difficult it is to make a movie, and like. I feel like people's complaints about that film feel to some degree petty to me. It's like because
I agree.
I understand that it's not a perfect film and that it's not everything you wanted. Like I get that. Like and it's okay to be disappointed, but like that's a really fucking well made movie. So it's like shut the fuck up about that.
Agreed.
It's not a rotten film from almost an objective standpoint, just from a technical achievement in filmmaking. So I don't know, whatever. It ain't no fucking Green Book, that's for sure.
Nice one.
But yeah, it's. I mean, so the main thing though I want to talk about is why show the Emperor or hear him in the first teaser for this? What's the reasoning? But I know that it hypes everybody.
Yeah,
I get that
the hype,
from a marketing standpoint. But like, why wouldn't you imagine letting people go see the movie and discover that? Do you know what I mean? Like it's a massive fucking spoiler.
Spoiler. Okay, is that where you're going? Okay.
Yeah, and so it's like,
but then that's what I'm trying to tell you. What if that's just something they did? What if it's not even? I mean, I know it'd be stupid to say, "Oh, well, it's not even part of the movie," and then they'd be like, "Oh, well, then that's really cheap and cheesy." I think that yes, someone else said that too. Like, "Oh, you just spoiled the whole film. I'm going to see it now. We know the Emperor comes back." I still don't think it's going to be that because it wouldn't make sense. Why would you do that at the end of someone's film series? He's not going to come back and do more, and we already know that the next guy.
Are they pretending like they're not just going to keep going with the story though?
That's according to them. This is the end of the Skywalker saga. Rian Johnson is doing something separate within the Star Wars universe, and then if the Emperor is being introduced, this is.
Are we just done with Rey and Finn and all these characters?
Well, the actors, unless they drive up with a big truck of money, say come back because
Which
Rey
they can do.
Yeah, well, what's her name? I keep forgetting the actress. She's always cute. Daisy Johnson.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Daisy Johnson.
Ridley. Daisy Ridley.
Daisy Ridley. I'm Daisy Johnson.
I don't fucking know.
But anyway, no, you're right. Daisy Ridley, and she's like, I'm not going to let what happened to these other guys happen to me, where I'm typecast as a Star Wars character. That is fair. And that's what she's saying. And so she's like, listen, I'm giving my all, and she does. That trailer, I love her in it. I love it. Now that she might be a Skywalker, whatever.
There's a moment that gives me chills though, which is where, it's just a great cinematic moment, which is where the TIE fighter's approaching, and you get that amazing tracking shot on the and you see there's the gravel rumbling from the TIE fighter, and then the music changes from this kind of uplifting, it's kind of hopeful to kind of a dark kind of sinister. It's just a great score and a great pairing of cinematography and music.
I agree. That trailer is amazing. It's awesome. Very, like you said, it's very well done, and I just love it's like Rhonda's she told Gloriana when Gloriana watches it, she goes, don't worry, it's a lot of breathing, a lot of heavy breathing. But it's amazing. It works for me. I like, and then she does the flip. It's a great opening to the trailer. I mean, showing Lando Calrissian, Billy Dee Williams, that's okay. I mean, I don't mind him coming back. I just thought it was cheesy throwing back.
I don't know that we need it. It's kind of one of those things where it's okay, guys.
Exactly. It's I don't think it's needed either.
It's excessive, but hey, I mean, it'll be fun. I think it'll be
really
fun.
No, definitely. And that's what I was going to say.
These movies are fun to look at. They're fun to talk about.
I lost track of thought, but I know these films originally back in 1977, they were these are going to be Oscar winner thingies. I think it's safe to say that anyone who thinks that has got to be the producers of the movies who think they're going to win an Oscar for film. These are just fun
stuff. But
they were created like Indiana Jones. Steven Spielberg and both George Lucas. When we were kids, we saw the Saturday matinee series. We wanted to bring that to the fore.
If I was a kid right now, I think these movies would be. I think these would totally get me into. Star Wars.
JC's into Star Wars, so it's cool because I wish I was him at 9. Jerking off to these trailers.
I get that this is a huge, massive franchise, but if you'd never seen Star Wars and you saw Force Awakens and The Last Jedi for the first time, I feel like you just it would blow my fucking mind as an 8-year-old kid.
Agreed.
Oh man. So anyway, I mean, I feel it brings me back to those days when I watched those movies, and regardless of their faults, I mean, I can't wait for it.
So. Oh yeah, me either. I can't wait till Christmas.
The other thing which we can kind of briefly talk about, this is just a random thing I saw on the internet, but I was curious to get your opinion on it. Which do you think is a bigger franchise, the MCU or Star Wars currently?
Ron, if he's listening, he's going to laugh.
Financially, I don't know that there's even a dispute, but I was curious to see.
So Rhonda sends this thing on Facebook a week ago, and I answered. I said MCU, and then she was like, Wrong, dummy. Disney, because they bought out both of them. And I laughed, and I was like, she's right.
Disney is the franchise.
Disney is different. They bought everything in. But I'll say this much. And you said the better or the...
No, well, okay, so I guess financially, which one is bigger and has more of a financial impact?
Yeah, I mean, you have to count... It would be Star Wars, because they've been... You count from 77.
I think so.
You count from 77.
Yeah.
I think they're the bigger money.
Which do you think has more fans? Probably MCU.
MCU right now. Right now, MCU audience. Because of the fact that Star Wars is every generation so far. So you get, even though like me, I think I'm that original generation, and then JC would be the newer generation. But MCU right now is like the bee's knees. I mean, everybody's jerking off waiting. They're waiting for this end game. Like, I'm lining up and buying tickets. Like, all tickets are sold out for IMAX for the first 3 weeks. I mean, it's ridiculous. So,
I mean, that's going to break. I mean, that may beat Avatar.
Oh, yes. If it doesn't beat Avatar in that first week, and well, I'm not going to say I'm going to eat anything because I might. But yeah, I mean, we were going to buy, but before you came, that was what I got lost track. I was going to buy tickets for the 27th for the kids, but
I don't know when the hell I'll see that. I'll just try and catch a district screening.
But where you'll be
for it.
You'll be in Chicago then, or no?
What week does it open?
It opens the 26th, so 2 weeks from today.
I think I come back on the 26th. I have a wedding on the 27th, but I won't be able to see it that night. I'll have to prep for that shoot.
So you're gonna have to go Sunday.
But I could
Monday.
see it. Yeah, I could see it on the Sunday. But I doubt. I'll probably wait till the weekday and try and catch a showing somewhere.
You just gotta keep your ears closed, bro. Don't go on the internet. Don't find out spoilers. Yeah. I mean, that's the worst. That's why, because I didn't have the girls that weekend. My ex let me have the kid.
I can't go see something in a crowded theater with children.
Understood. You're right. Go Monday, but I'm just saying for that whole weekend, just be like la 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 la. Because
I'll be at a wedding all day Saturday, and then Sunday I'm usually hungover from a wedding, not from alcohol, but just from.
I was gonna say,
today, I feel like I got hit by a bus, and I'm just like,
you up till midnight.
You can hear it in my voice.
Yeah,
I was up till 4:30 actually because I had to dump all the footage after a wedding. And I had issues with one of the cards, so it's just not fun. But that's just part of my job. I work 1 day a week, 1 to 2 days a week, so I can't fucking complain.
Hey,
but
you live the dream, boy.
Anyway, I guess we can get into the movies. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 films to talk about, and then we may hit on Game of Thrones if we have any time.
Yes,
just projections for the new season. So. The first one I'm going to talk about is Shazam, which is the latest DC film starring I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce the character because I know nothing about the comics and how. So introduce that, and then I'll go through the movie.
So Shazam was a character or a comic book created back in the late 30s.
That old, really?
Yeah, they go back. It debuted around the same time as Superman as a you got Superman, well we got Shazam. And what happened was it was also, from what I was reading, it was a license that dropped, and then DC bought it. So because they were calling it Shazam, so after DC bought it,
when did they buy that? Was that back?
DC bought it in the 40s or 50s. They ended up buying the property after it died out because obviously Superman was the clear winner in that comic book series. But it's been around since then, and the story's basic. I mean, if you watch the cartoon in the 70s or whatever, it's the young boy gets taken upon by a wizard who gives him the power of Shazam, 6 or 7 of the gods. Oh my God! Now Hercules, Ares, Zeus, and all those Greek gods. You can put all the letters to it, and he has that power for. I don't want to say a certain amount of time.
I've seen the movie and I didn't realize that that's what
so that's what
letters of Shazam stand for.
It's I keep forgetting the first one. The S is but then it's Hercules, Ares, Zeus, another Greek god, and then the Mercury. So that's the
idea.
Yeah, check that out. And to make a long story short, before Jeremy goes into it, the character has always been a side character. He's been like Superman light in the DC universe. Jeff Johns, and I'm not just going to say Jeff Johns because he's been a big throughout the ages, but Jeff Johns, the wonderkind of DC, who creates all these superheroes and brings back from the dead, cut to Green Lantern. But he brought back a story about 3 or 4 years ago, which this movie's heavily based on, and it brought the fun of the character because remember Billy Batson is just a young kid. And he then, when he's in trouble, when he needs to help someone, he calls upon these powers of the gods, And like I said, from the trailers, I know you're going to probably tell me different without spoiling it, but from the trailers, I hated it. I hated the trailer because I was like, oh my God, there's going to be a cheesy kind of Deadpool for kids, 6-year-olds. And it was too jokey. But then I read Jeff Johns' stuff recently, and it was really good. It has the lightheartedness of it, but it also had, the superhero action, and it had, the drama that a Batman or a Superman star may have. So, and I heard that everyone said that when everybody was like going to destroy it last week, they were saying that the review audiences were saying that this had heart. It was also action-packed, but it also had a lot of comedy. So I don't know, you tell me now.
What's the verdict, Jeremy?
What's the verdict, Jeremy, without spoilers?
This is directed by David F. Sandberg, which is the acclaimed director from movies like Annabelle Creation and Lights Out.
Which is weird that they gave him
Which
that
is,
job.
like you just described, similar story about a kid that I'm going totally blank on how he gets there, but he essentially finds himself in the lair of a wizard, whose name is Shazam as well. Yeah. And he gives this young boy the ability to, because of the events that unfold regarding the villain of the film. Yeah. He gives this child the power to basically turn himself into an adult superhero, right? Mm-hmm. You know the story. Yeah. But, and with that comes, it's essentially, big with superheroes, and, it's really fucking fun. This movie is really, I had so much goddamn fun. And it was a complete surprise to me because of what you just described, which is, when I saw the first trailer, I was more hopeful than most people. I feel like I was like, this looks different from the traditional DC stuff, which is kind of dark and broody and ugly and shitty and terrible. I hate pretty much everything after Nolan's Batman. I understand why you hate that. But I love those films. And then Wonder Woman's probably the best of, the bunch, but Justice League, all that shit's terrible. So this was such a complete breath of fresh air. Mm-hmm. It's just, it works because of a really fantastic script, written by Henry Gayden. Written by 7 different people.
I was going to say, Jeff Johns got a credit to it.
Well, only 3 people.
3 people.
Yeah,
okay.
But it's just really tight, and it works not only as an adventure film, kind of as just a coming of age adventure film about a foster child who kind of discovers the value of family and all those things. It has all those elements to it that really work. Everybody feels very genuine and very heartfelt without being cheesy. There's some moments of that, but it's, for the most part, it doesn't take itself too seriously, and then you have this really funny, just fresh script that, feels like it, obviously everybody's described it as big with superheroes. Mm-hmm. And there's even a really great kind of nod to that, a really hilarious nod to it in the film. I don't know. It also has not a great villain, but an interesting kind of dark villain. So some of the violence in the film is a little darker than you would traditionally see in a movie this lighthearted. So it has, like we were talking about, if you were an 8-year-old kid and you saw something like this, it would be kind of like what you would see with movies like Indiana Jones, where they have there's actual violence in a movie made for children, kind of an adventure film made for children, and it makes the stakes feel real. And I laughed. It's exciting. It's thrilling at times, and it's just a good old fucking time for the movies. I think it's one of the best films of the year. So.
Well, that's high praise. I can't wait to see it. Mm-hmm. Here, just real quick: Solomon, Hercules, Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, and Mercury. There we go.
Cool.
That's it. But yeah, no, I'm definitely
go see it. It's the best thing out right now.
Yeah, no. Emma's birthday is next week, and she gets to pick a movie, and I think she does. That'll be the movie she picks. Hopefully, nothing else. But yeah, we'll go see that. What else?
So next on our list is Beach Bum. Well, actually.
You're going to do Beach Bum first?
I guess I'll do Pet Sematary. So Pet Sematary is a remake of the pretty acclaimed Stephen King book.
Yeah, I thought it was one of the better ones, yeah.
Which I have not read. I don't read, so that's the main thing.
There's anything wrong with it.
It's directed by, actually I didn't know who it was directed by. It's co-directed Kevin Kolsch, he's doing the Mama 2. He hasn't really done much, it doesn't look like. And then one other, Dennis Wildmer. I'm looking at the IMDb right now. Yeah, 2 guys that haven't made a ton of films, but it stars Jason Clarke and Amy Smets, who I love Amy Smets, huge fan, and John Lithgow. and a terrible child actor.
Which one?
Jete Lawrence.
The girl or the boy?
The girl. The boy is really young.
I can't wait till we get to this because I want to say a lot about the original and how much. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so there was an late 90s,
89,
early
1989.
late
Mary
80s
Lambert.
film, which I also haven't seen.
No, you haven't.
I don't know if is it any good? The actual original film.
So, is it any good? It is. It's very good. It's very scary. It's very dark. But it's funny that you said that because I didn't even see that coming anywhere. The girl actress in the original is horrible. She's never done another film after it. That's how bad she was in the film, and it made me crazy because the kid I want to ask you about that too because in the original film it's the young boy Gage.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say.
That becomes.
You spoiled it, so I'll let you take the fall
For
for
the
that.
original, 1989. You didn't see it 30 years ago.
But the reason you're saying that is because it flips in this
Well,
movie.
but in the trailer, that's why I said in the trailer they show her creeping
they do,
around.
yeah.
So I'm sorry. If you guys don't watch the trailer and don't pay
The
attention,
second trailer for this it's like almost the entire film is in it, which is just
yeah.
annoying.
I'm glad I didn't see the second trailer yet.
I fucking hate this film. So let me get to the. I hate it, but I also had a really great time.
Well, then there you go.
But not because of the movie. So I went and saw it with my brother on a whim when it came. So we went and saw Shazam. This opened the same day.
Yeah.
And we were kind of like, oh, you want to see Shazam or Pet Sematary? And we're like, oh, let's go see Shazam.
Shazam.
It's hard to get a screening without a ton of people, and we managed to find a good screening. And so we went and saw that. But the reason we were considering both is they both have like an 80. Both were in the like upper 80s and 90s on the tomato meter. And so I was like, oh, well, it's got good reviews. And when I saw the initial teaser for this film, I was interested. I was like, I love Amy Seimetz. Jason Clarke is really good. John Lithgow doesn't seem like he needs to be in this movie, and he shouldn't be. But at the time, I was like, yeah, like that. Like it looks
character.
interesting.
I didn't like him either, but I like Fred Gwynn better. But anyway,
So he has like this really. So he's got like a big beard, and he plays kind of a drunk old man that lives next door.
That's how it is.
And his beard is like orange in the middle. And there's a point in this where I made a joke about eating ass, and from that point on, my brother and I, because we were trying to find the reason for why his mustache was orange, and from that point on, I think we stopped taking the film seriously for many reasons. I have a whole list of notes. So we all know the plot of the film is that a family moves to a remote house in the woods in the middle of Maine. I think they're from Boston, but they don't have Boston accents, and it's just and so they move there he is like a doctor, I think. Yeah, he's a doctor. It's just none of that matters because this film doesn't really. These actors are trying really hard. Amy Seimetz is great. She was in one of my favorite films. Amy Seimetz was from Upstream Color, right? I think.
Let me see, Amy Seimetz.
And You're Next is where I think I first saw her.
You're Next, yeah.
Yeah, Upstream Color. She's so fucking fantastic.
Yeah, you like Upstream Color.
It's one of my favorite. I think it's tied with The Master for my favorite film of the 21st century so far. So I love that film. And she also directs episodes of Girls. Like I love seeing her in things because she's really talented and she works very hard. I'm glad that she's getting roles,
bigger roles.
But she has nothing to do in this movie. So at least I think these characters are so poorly written. When you start really talking about breaking them down and talking like the fact that they don't have accents, and it's better than trying to do a shitty Boston trying to do an accent, not being able to do it. But it's just there's little things like that throughout this film that are just frustrating at best. And when you start talking about them afterwards, you go like, what? Like, wait, what? Like, that's like the black goo from Prometheus. Like, what? It's just like, there's so many questions. And, and the film isn't nearly as entertaining as a movie like Prometheus. So they move to a remote house. Their pet cat dies. Spoilers. No, everything's in the fucking trailer. So
none of that. We saw it in '89. If you read the book in '84, you should know all this.
Anyway,
go ahead.
So cat dies, and the neighbor next door is like, you know what? What if we bury it in this remote place in the back of? So they buy like a 5-acre lot of land, and there's a pet cemetery right nearby, and you see like some of the local children, which is a cool
that
scene,
part is cool because that's not in the original. Yeah,
that was why I was interested.
Yeah,
in this movie.
Agreed.
Was the shots of the kids with the masks, and it doesn't really explain why. I mean, it's a processional is what she describes it as. It's just like, okay. But it never really explains the rules of. So you have the pet cemetery, right? And if you get buried in the pet cemetery, you come back to life.
Yeah.
But then like there's an area beyond the pet cemetery, which is where they bury the cat. And they make it out to be that you have to go to that area to have it come back to life.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, because remember, it's a regular pet cemetery, but behind it is where the Indian burial ground is.
Okay. Well, at this point, we're into spoiler territory because that's the whole. I mean, that's the.
I don't know how different it is from the original. I'm just going by 1989's version, and the book. But I don't know.
It's all like that.
It's all the same.
Yeah,
so
it's all the same. Which
there should be no spoilers.
That's not a problem. But I don't quite understand though why. So if you bury in the pet cemetery, it comes back, but it doesn't come back normal, right?
No, because it's not supposed to.
So
like with the animals.
Yeah,
he was like, that's fine. They come back and whatever. But remember, I don't know what happened in the remake, but in the original, he smells bad, and then they don't want to play with the cat anymore. And it's like it was just something the father did, I guess, just to relieve the hurt and pain that his daughter felt. So it brings him back just for that. But then it's the whole thing with what do we do if we bury a body there? That kind of thing. And then that's where, oh no, don't do that because they come back wrong. Obviously, the cat smells, it stinks. It's a little feral now.
Yeah.
So,
Which is a fun premise. Like,
no.
I
love the original. I still do, even though it's cheesy.
The movie is kind of clunky in the way it describes the rules of. There's a terrible, terrible exposition scene with John Lithgow.
Well, is that the same thing? Is it an Indian burial ground? Just like okay, like in the book, yeah, okay.
Which is again fine. I have no problems with that. But there's moments like the movie just it fumbles the way it like executes the scenes where it talks about kind of it tells the rules and explains what's going on. And there's like really just terrible setup scenes. Like there's a scene where there's a scene where they talk about if there's something after you die, and you're like, oh, like I don't like I. It's like I get that scene needs to happen. For instance, there's scenes in a movie like Hereditary like that where they set it up. You know, they set up what happens when you die. You know, which is a cheesy scene, but like it's at least more. And the performances are. I don't know, the script is better. It's just the script really is the main problem because everybody's trying really hard here. Jason Clarke and the whole cast is working very hard, but the script just doesn't work. And I don't know, there's like a scene where John Lithgow explains the whole plot in kind of a rushed kind of, it's just messy. And so that's problematic because I shouldn't have questions about such a stupid premise. Like I really should, you know what I mean? It's like, and maybe I'm just dumb, but and then like there's in the trailer there's a shot of they move into this house and he's talking, and then all of a sudden like a big rig drives by on the road right outside, and it's like a big jump scare, and it's like really stupid because I couldn't even hear it. I couldn't even hear that massive truck approaching the house. Which is just a stupid throwaway kind of thing. And then they do it 3 more fucking times. They do that. They use it as a jump scare 3 more times. And it's so, and then there's supposed to be this big payoff regarding that big rig, and you see it coming from a mile away, which is what every character should have also seen. Yeah, exactly. But it's so there's issues with that. I don't know if that's how it happens in the book. I don't want to spoil. I guess it doesn't fucking matter.
I mean, come on. I mean, in the book,
one of their children gets killed, right?
Yeah.
But how does it happen in the book and in the original film?
So, and I'm gonna bring, because I think I tell this story every time I talk about Pet Sematary. So in the book, yes, Gage is murdered. Well, run over, killed. He gets hit by the truck.
That's the boy.
And in the movie, same thing. Now here, and I'm gonna tell you why, because I mean, not that you know. I mean, we can only read. I guess we could read up on it. So I saw this film opening weekend when I was 18 years old. I sat down because I love Stephen King. I used to eat him up. And I sat in the theater. And when Gage gets run over by the truck, 5 or 6 women get up and walk out. Mm-hmm. And the boyfriends or husbands are like, what's going on? And I noticed that 3 of them are pregnant. And I can understand that when you're watching this film, either you have a young child or you're pregnant with a child and you see something this. And again, I've never seen a kid get killed in my life besides the true story based on Adam, the kid who died in New York, John Walsh's son. But other than that,
personally though, right? Yeah.
No, of course not. But it was a big story in New York, and it was a true story, and they did a TV movie based on it, and I was like, oh my god! But this is a film. I've never seen a fictional film where a kid gets run over by a truck, and it's jolting. I was like, oh my god! Even though I read the book, and I was like, oh no, don't do it, stop this. And that's how. So I'm thinking that in the remake, they were like, oh yeah, we're not going to do that. We're not going to kill a kid. So they kill an older, or not a baby. I said we're not going to kill a toddler. We'll kill a kid like 9, 8.
Well, I think they're trying to like subvert your expectations about which kid dies.
Yeah,
which is fine. So to give the movie a little bit of credit, the only part that works for me is actually the reaction from Jason Clarke when he realizes that his kid is running into the street. That moment is actually terrifying.
Yeah, and they do in all the films too. In the book, in the film, the original film, it got me nervous. I was only 18 at the time, and I didn't have any kids at the time, but just to know that, oh my God, stop, and yes, even what's his name, Dale Midkiff, his reaction to it. I mean, Mary Lamb, Denise Crosby too plays the mother in the original. You feel it because that's why the scene is so devastating.
But I don't agree with the actual aftermath. It's only the initial. So
just the fade. Yeah,
I related to a true story where I was at a park when I was probably maybe 10 or so, somewhere in that range, and there's a river right next to the park, and there was a moment where one of the moms didn't know where her kid was, and she had a panic attack.
Yeah,
it was just just in hysterics for completely understandable reasons. But I remember as a kid being able to understand what was happening and being very kind of freaked out by that. Right. So there's a moment where. And the kid was fine. It was like he was in the car with his dad or something, but in the real story at least. But
I'm scared. I was like,
there's that moment where you see kind of the reaction on Jason. Like it's a good piece of acting, and it works. But then they cut out all the music or the sound. And everything goes at slow mo. It's it doesn't work. Like the scene doesn't work very well, especially when you compare it to something like Hereditary, which just came out, right? Which it just takes that concept and it fucking nails it. So it's it nails like killing a child, but then the horrifying aftermath of it. It fucking nails it. And that's one of the most effective scenes in recent memory. It's amazing.
I agree. Yeah, I mean Hereditary. I still think about it.
So that and the movie just doesn't work up to this point. Everything is so telegraphed. I don't know. So that's frustrating. It's kind of by the numbers in every way possible. The girl is terrible, as an actor, which is, I get it. She's a young girl. I don't, but not to shit on the young actress, but the problem is she plays such a crucial part in the story that there's a lot of dialogue scenes with this girl and she just isn't quite good enough.
Really?
Yeah. The scene I was talking about with the afterlife and everything, do you think we should, and then they go there in the bedroom.
Wait, you saying before the accident?
Before and after.
After too?
Well, she's the one that comes back.
I understand, but you're saying she has dialogue?
Yeah, it's really fucking stupid.
What? Yeah, I could understand.
So I'm gonna spoil. There's a moment, just as a complaint of mine. There's a spoil. There's a spoiler about. There's a moment, the moment of the whole afterlife thing.
Yeah.
There's this is kind of cheese, which is I'm almost okay with, but the movie doesn't fully commit to that, right? There's a moment where she says something along the lines of remember when Daddy told me that and I'm paraphrasing, but it's remember when Daddy told me that there was nothing after? He was wrong. And you're just it's so bad.
In the original, you got to see the original now. The young actress in the original never did a film after her life, but let me tell you something. I can understand why. So there's a scene too where there's I told you the scene with the cat. She's whatever doesn't smell so good. But there's a scene where she's when the father character buries Gage, and in this film obviously he buries the daughter. In the original film, the girl's getting The Shining, which is and she's getting a sense of it, and she says. She's crying, and it's horrible. Actress couldn't cry to save her life. And Denise Crosby says, "What's wrong, honey? What's wrong?" She's like, "Daddy's gonna do something really bad." Something. From this day on, I just laugh because I'm like, "Oh my God, this actress is the worst." But it's you did the same fucking voice, and I'm like, I can't believe that they continue that.
It's so cheesy, and it's terrible. And there's a ton of dialogue. Where she has these really terrible one-liners before she kills somebody. It's so fucking stupid.
No way.
And there's no motivation. But
why is she talking?
It's also, if you're looking at it from a comedy perspective, it's also brilliant. So there's moments of it's where it's entertaining because it's bad.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
and
then that's good.
And I don't know, I have a list of all the shit that happened. So there was a point. So I think we were in an audience of 4 or something. There was my brother and I, and then three or four people in the back behind us. And at one point, one of the girls got up to get popcorn or go to the restroom or something, and she comes back and it just she like stops because like I noticed because she was like had heels on. She was like thumping on the stairs as she came down, and she looked at her friends and she went, "Cat's back." Which is amazing.
She said, "You missed it, bro."
And my brother and I were already like just laughing through all of this by this point. And then there's a dude in the back, his phone goes off and he goes, "Oh shit, sorry guys." And then he answers it and has a conversation. And we were just like, what the fuck is happening? It was such a strange, wonderful, I mean, I had
Well, then that's good.
so
See,
much fun.
then even though it's horrible, you loved it because of the experience.
And then there's a scene where like Jason Clarke and Amy Spencer are about to like get into it, and the cat's on the bed, and I think it reminded me of that scene in You're Next where she's like, "Fuck me next to your dead mom," because the cat was dead at that point. Anyway,
there you go.
Like. I don't remember what the punchline of this joke that I have written down here is, but it said, "Now there's nothing funny about a family grieving a child."
True.
But I don't remember what the rest of that joke is. But
that just summed it up.
What else do I have here?
Now I feel bad because I'm not going to take it serious when I see it.
So then there's this weird. I think this is my. I have two more things. So in the original, I don't know what the plot is for the backstory for Amy Smet's character, the wife.
Yeah.
How do you remember that?
Yeah. So when she was a girl, when she was younger, her sister had spinal meningitis.
Okay.
To a point where it was making her like a monster.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. In the original film, there's only like 3 good scary parts. The sister shit to this day still creeps me the fuck out.
Yeah.
And so that's it. So she came from a very hard family. The parents like threw her away because they hid her away because they were like very uptight and our children can't be sick. So she had to take care of her.
Like none of those details are in this film.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't feel fleshed out, which is maybe part of the problem.
So in the book, same thing. So yeah, I keep saying movie. I hate that because this is also from the book. But yeah, so she had to take care of her sister, and to a point that she was so creeped out and disgusted by it that her sister chokes to death, and she like allows it to happen just so she can be done with taking care of her sister, and her parents can be done with having the secret.
Okay.
And so she murdered her sister basically, even though she really didn't.
Okay.
But so she was. So that's why, the wife, and I don't know what happens at the end of the film in your version or in that version.
It's a little different, but yeah, I
okay,
don't want to spoil that for
spoil it because I want to hear.
I want to hear. Hopefully you don't see this movie. It's terrible, but
I'm going to.
So there's so I just in kind of like what you described, like or what we just mentioned. Is it feels kind of like an afterthought in this film. Like it doesn't really tie in with anything that's happening in any other than just emotional trauma.
Yeah, emotional trauma.
But that doesn't.
And
that's
death,
not real. Like
dealing with death.
But it's even before then. It's something where it just doesn't feel cohesive with like the actual theme of the movie. I mean, this movie doesn't. It fumbles all that stuff, but it for some reason it feels like it was almost as if they didn't have a backstory for her and they needed something to add a few scares into the movie. And they do an interesting thing that's different from what you just described, but it's just terrible. I don't know. And Amy Smith is working very hard. She's good, but the material just it doesn't fit with anything. Like I don't know. I guess what you said, the way that she grieves makes sense, but like even that doesn't really make sense though, because if she doesn't really care about, not that she doesn't care about her sister.
It's more like a mercy killing in
well, in this
movie,
it's more of an
book.
accident though, which is what makes it even less effective.
Now that's different. Yeah, because I like the fact that she may have murdered her sister on purpose.
That sounds more interesting.
Yeah, because and then like I said, we've already been spoilers, but the end of the film makes sense when I don't know how big both spoiler it is.
Who cares?
When spoilers. She comes back, and you know what I'm saying? Unless that doesn't happen.
The wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, she does. I was gonna say, why? She don't come back at the end? But anyway, yeah.
Yeah,
because Gaze kills his mother in Mary Lambert's 1989, and in the book, and then the doctor puts her in the cemetery, and he says, "But I did it now." And it's a cheesy ending when he says that. He's like, "But I did it now. It's early enough. It'll be better and it'll be different." And then she still, even though she comes back looking better, anyway, I'm just saying that's Dale Midkiff's acting.
This movie sucks.
Sometimes
but
that is better.
There is a point where I think it's a doll or something that the daughter has, and when she squeezes it, like squeaks like a squeaky toy or something like that.
Yeah.
And I made a joke about in Arrested Development when Joe has the puppet that goes, "My name is Judge," and so there's a jump scare where like it's like a really tense scene, and she's like about to open a door, and like I like said that, and we just couldn't take this thing seriously because it's fucking terrible, and I don't know, it's a fucking mess. Don't go see it. Don't support this shitty movie. It's well made. Like it's like, it's produced well.
Yeah, it looks very well.
It doesn't. It's not shaky cam garbage.
And it's funny because I trust you. I mean, I know that you're probably a zillion% right. But this is getting really good. Like you said, it's getting really good scores and reviews.
Well,
people
it's now
they're saying that scariest movie so far this year.
It's dropped though. It is like a 49% or something. Or 56. It's rotten.
So then after the film opened, it was like yoink.
Yeah. but even like reviews from people that I like Mark Kermode is one of my favorite critics, and I think he didn't like praise it, but he gave it a fresh rating. I was like, this movie sucks. I don't know. Maybe it was just the conditions in which I saw it, but I don't know. I was not interested. So that's Pet Sematary 2018.
So sometimes
2019. What year is it? 2019.
2019.
The next two on our list are Harmony Korine films because you saw Spring Breakers for the first time. So let's talk about Spring Breakers, and then I'll go into Beach Bum, which is his latest film with Matthew McConaughey.
So it's funny because I grew up. I grew up in the '60s. When I grew up, one of my best friends, Danny. When we got older, I was about 3 years older than him. I went my way, he went another way, and he ended up becoming a Lower East Side kid in New York City. And he introduced me to Harmony Korine before he was Harmony Korine, and I was just like, who's this fucking kid? And a year later, he hooked up with Larry Clark. He wrote Kids, and it took off from there. So Danny always knew him. So I followed his career.
Kids was his most.
Kids was his first written film. Yeah.
Or like
if you want to say most successful, because Kids was a big film back in the early 90s.
What did he do before? Oh, he did a bunch of. Gummo was his
first film, which was
that was late
to this
90s,
day it still haunts me. But
I've only seen the bathtub scene. I
know.
Seen the actual movie.
You got to see the movie. I think you would.
And then he did Trash Humpers. Was Kids after all this stuff?
Kids was 1994.
Oh, okay. Wait, no.
Yeah. It was 1994,
1994. It's not even on his IMDb.
Because he wrote it. He's not a director.
Gotcha. That's
Larry Clark directed. Gotcha. Remember, it was the whole thing about child pornography and all that because there's sex.
I still haven't seen Kids. I haven't seen any of this stuff other than Spring Breakers and
So
just to
and I followed his career. Like I said, I loved Kids. I saw it as a monster movie back then. Gummo was hard to watch, made me crazy. And then Julian Donkey Boy was horrible. Ken Park, which is banned, so I still haven't seen it. I mean, there's bootleg copies out there, but he wrote the screenplay for Larry Clark again, and that was banned because of child pornography. And then he did Mr. Lonely, which is on Netflix, and it's in my queue. I still never saw it. I saw Trash Humpers, which is horrible. And after that, I just lost track. I came to Texas, and he just fell off my radar. And then Jeremy, who I love, he told me about Spring Breakers. I remember, and I was like,
I saw that in the theater, on a whim. I think, maybe I had
because you were into film, still are, but I mean, I remember
2012, so I was definitely
we just met. We had met that year
YouTube at that point,
and you told me about it. And I was like, Harmony Korine's still doing movies because Trash Humpers was experimental. He did a lot of shorts, and you liked it. And I know I finally because he said he was going to see Beach Bum, and I saw the trailer that week, and I said I got to see this movie Beach Bum. I went on Netflix and I saw Spring Breakers. And it's interesting. It's very different. I mean, like I said, I've seen all the movies. From all his other stuff. I mean, I didn't realize how much he matured and grew because I should have saw Mr. Lonely because I heard Mr. Lonely was where he became a real director. But I liked it, but I didn't love it. I thought it was really well done. And it's funny because we talk about his way he deals with sex and women. It's interesting because, I mean, it almost like Larry Clark, like the way he focuses on the girls, Vanessa Hudgens, who I love, and not his wife. His wife is the bitch character. But the other girl.
There's 4 of them. Right?
Yeah, Selena Gomez is the church girl.
She's the main one.
She's
all that
really
church
good.
stuff is so ham-fisted and terrible. Though,
Yeah, you hated that stuff.
Yeah, that stuff just doesn't work for me.
Ashley Benson, there she goes. That's the one who plays Brit.
It's like an immature atheist perspective on what
But
Christians
that's exactly, yeah. And
it's
then,
just so. It's
and
so
James
really,
Franco, and it's just
I like
so
this movie
weird.
a lot.
No. I do. And James Franco's really good in it. I just think it's
very
weird.
Good. Yeah.
His introduction, like he's rapping, and I'm like, oh, he's like an up and coming rapper, but he's this gangbanger, and the ending kind of
that
felt
scene on his bed where he's like introducing it's like MTV Cribs, but with James
yes,
Franco.
exactly.
What's his name in that? Is it
Alien?
Alien. Yeah. It's just a stupid name. Isn't there like an actual rapper in that? What's his name?
Oh yeah.
Gucci Mane. Yeah.
Gucci Mane. Yeah,
and apparently he like would pass out because he gets so fucking high while on set. Like they couldn't keep him awake for filming, which is so weird.
It's good. It's. I mean, I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it. The
It's
ending
stylish.
was kind of.
Really slick.
It was very, very. You know what? Oh, here, and this is what I said. It's like Miami Vice.
Yeah, it's shot
It's a
like
lot like Miami Vice.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh shit, this is Harmony Korine's episode of Miami Vice.
Yeah.
And I think I would have loved it more if the ending was a little bit more satisfying.
It's sexy, but it's like making a point about the fact that you're watching it. Like it's almost kind of not quite a funny games kind of point, but there's to some degree it feels like it's like you shouldn't be like look. It's like here's spring break and how everybody sees it, and then there's this kind of seedy underbelly to all of it, and this kind of weird.
And it made me think about it. I was like, I wonder if that happens. Like girls end up not going back to school and getting caught up in all this stuff. And I started thinking about it. I was like, I should look into it more. But supposedly it is based on a true story, according to what it says there. Wow. But
well, and then there's that there's a great that scene where they rob the diner.
The diner was really good.
It's like all done in
Shot
one take.
well,
outside.
yeah.
There's some really stylish kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, and I that's why I can't wait to see Beach Bum. And I should definitely see that other one. What was the other one I just saw? And I was like, why haven't I seen that?
I don't know.
Hold on, don't give up the ghost.
Another Harmony Korine film?
Yeah, Spring Breakers.
I don't think he's done anything.
Fuck. Yeah, no, that's it. So yeah, I guess Beach Bum is the next big film. So, but I liked it a lot. I didn't love it because of the ending, and I think I wanted more in the ending.
It's kind of stupid.
It ended kind of really quick.
It's stylish, but it's kind of stupid.
And the repeating of dialogue, someone will do it on camera, and then it comes back later, like to show, I guess, a parallel or a point.
There's that great scene though where where James Franco is on the piano playing a cover of
Britney Spears. Sometimes
Britney Spears, okay.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a great scene, and it's great.
Actually,
it has and when we talk about Beach Bum has like this magical quality to it, and that scene I think has a very similar kind of
interesting
tone to some of the stuff in Beach Bum that I like the most. So
segue into Beach Bum now, since we talked.
So Beach Bum is, it's not. There's not much of a plot to this film. It's basically Matthew McConaughey plays a poet that let me pull up his name, Mad Dog, I think, or something. Let me double check to make sure that's right.
Yeah, hold on. He plays Moondog.
Moondog. Yeah, Moondog. Sure. So he's like this acclaimed poet known for kind of making these weird public appearances, and he's a guy that's stoned or on drugs literally he's for this entire film, which is great. But he kind of I don't know. He just kind of wanders. He lives on a boat in the Key West or something, somewhere in Florida. I think is where Key West is, right?
Yeah, Key West is in Florida.
Just on the water, kind of living the life. Just apparently he's filthy rich because the woman he married, played by Isla Fisher. Isla Fisher, yeah. Mm-hmm. And she has a ton of money, and they don't live together. And they don't they're married, but they all sleep with other people, and they just kind of live this casual lifestyle. And he has sex with people in the middle of restaurants and shit. It's just complete, I don't know what you want to call it, but he screws around and has a good time, and shows up at random concerts and Jimmy Buffett concerts and interrupts everything to tell you a really shitty poem. But he's likable and fun and carefree. And there's a person that's very important to him passes away. Well, it's Isla Fisher passes away.
Spoiler.
Well, it's the only way to describe the plot of this movie. And he's forced to she basically in her will like doesn't leave. It's a really silly kind of expository scene where the lawyer like explains like how that he doesn't get anything unless he writes the book he's been working on. Stupid plot. Anyway, dumb plot, but really fun kind of carefree film. Like it's a movie that just kind of meanders, but it's really like if you're in the mood for it, I think it can find a groove. And and it's Snoop Dogg is in this, and like there's just, it's really funny and weird and it's entertaining, but like it's also not it's not like an exciting film. Like there's not much to really talk about, but it's enjoyable to watch Matthew McConaughey play this character, and there's definitely some really funny moments, and it does have this kind of magical, carefree quality to it that reminds me of. There's a really great sequence with him and Isla Fisher where you kind of see how they when they're alone, kind of where the magic happens. And it's like it's after their daughter's wedding. She's getting married, so he comes home, and they like go out on the town for a night, and they spend this evening kind of, I don't know, just like hanging out and dancing on the dock, and it's just beautiful photography, and it's just really well. It reminds me of Blue Valentine actually at times, where it's like it's taken less seriously, but it's there's just this magical romantic quality to it. So there's that, that stuff works like effectively as just a, I don't know, it reminds me of that scene from Spring Breakers where it just has this like, I don't know, it feels like you're like in a you forget where you are. Like there's moments like that in this movie, and that's where like the first half I was really, really into this. I was like, this is one of my favorites, and then it kind of overstays its welcome. That doesn't mean it's not entertaining throughout the rest of it, but there's definitely like you could probably cut about 20 minutes out of this. There's like this really stupid fun scene where he is trying to find a place to stay, and he goes on a boat with a dolphin. It's like a guy that takes people out to do dolphin tours because he really loves dolphins. It's a really stupid quirk that this character has, and it's a really kind of funny scene, and but it's so out of place, and it doesn't need to be in the movie. So there's definitely stuff in this that if it was edited down about 20 minutes, I think it would be way more effective and way more fun. The ending is really stupid. It's a really, like, the plot of this film is nonsense, but it's a really fun time. Zac Efron plays a Christian. He's like a Christian. I don't even know what he does, but he like vapes all the time. He's just a total bro. He has like these really long sideburns, and he's every inch or so he's shaved a line into it. So yes, it's just his character is so bizarre. So you have like an interesting cast of characters that he stumbles upon. Jonah Hill plays a Southern, he's a kind of a rich agent to Moondog that has a really terrible Southern accent. It's such an odd film, but it's really... I just
think it's funny that he had Vanessa Hudgens in Spring Breakers and then Zac Efron in this movie. Yeah. It's like his High School Musical cast is coming together.
But it feels like it's it would almost work better as like a mini series where like each episode you spend a day with these characters.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Yeah.
But as a movie, it just as a whole, it feels like kind of a mixed bag, but it is a good time. Yeah. So that's my meandering thoughts on Beach Bum.
I'll check it out.
Don't go see it in the theater.
Oh, no, of course not.
But watch it on Netflix, rent it or whatever, and watch it at home. It's a good time.
Real before you move on,
preferably which while stoned if you could, because I feel like it'd be a better time if you were.
Which one you thought was better, Spring Breakers or Beach Bum?
I think Spring Breakers is a more well-directed, better film overall from a plot and it doesn't work completely, but it's definitely. I think Beach Bum's more entertaining.
Entertaining, yeah.
So
I got you. I agree. I'll agree with that.
Yeah. That's Beach Bum, latest from Harmony Korine, and that ends. Or at least most of our new releases. Carlos saw Death Wish, the Bruce Willis.
Yeah. We were talking about
remake. Eli
I'll do that real quick because I can do Polka King. So
Polka King.
Polka. No, we don't even have to talk about. I'm gonna throw it out. If you watch like Netflix movies, Polka King is based on a true story. Jack Black is amazing in it. I just enjoyed it. It was a real cute, funny, quick film and about. Oh man, I don't want to get into the whole thing, but it was about a polka singer who became famous because he started doing a Ponzi scheme with the old people in his town, neighborhood in Pennsylvania. And he literally, I mean, he created like this empire for himself. And since they're all a close-knit thing, if they needed money, he would give it to them. They never, like, no one ever expected, I'm going to get back all this money. And he would just give them money because of this. He would borrow from Peter and pay Paul. And it's just a really interesting, and then at the end, when you see it's a true story, it's amazing how he got away with it. Like when he went to jail, he got stabbed in the neck. And it's like, and then at the end of the movie, they show over the credits, the actual clippings and the video footage of the real guy. And I'm like, it's just a cute little movie, but it was just amazing how this guy got away for like 10 years, stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from the but not really, because they were like, hey, they'll go to his store and what do you need? And he would give them stuff. And if they needed money, he would give them money. Of course, like if they need like $1,000 for that.
It has a similar tone to Bernie.
And that's what I was saying. I was like, why does Jack Black do these true stories based on people like that? But
where like the whole town loves him, but he's kind of evil.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, even though he wasn't, kind of but he was aloof.
Like it's like he's evil. Well, he does horrible things, but it's almost like he doesn't. And maybe the real characters aren't like this. I don't know, but it doesn't come across that way when you watch a movie like Bernie and you listen to real people describe who Bernie was.
Yeah, and he did. Richard Linklater did use the real people, right?
Yeah, some of them.
It was interesting. Were,
Bernie's fantastic. I love that film. But I've seen some of Polka Singer, but I wasn't paying a ton of attention to it because I was.
But I just had to throw it out there because I watched it real quick before going to work. I had nothing to watch on TV, and it was just fun. It was entertaining. The whole scene with the Pope. I thought, and this is real quick before we move on. I actually thought that he paid because he said he was going to go to gangsters and they were going to help him and your boy, what's his name? My God,
my boy
from Rushmore.
Jason Schwartzman.
Jason Schwartzman plays Pizzazz, Sir Pizzazz, and he's like, oh. So I thought until the end of the film. I just thought that maybe he went to the gangsters and they got a lookalike of the Pope because the whole thing was that. To get more money, he promised them a trip to see the Pope, and it ended up coming. Well, in the movie, I was just like, "Oh, the gangsters paid a lookalike. Oh, he got away with it." But at the end of the film, when they show the real scenes, he literally got the Pope to come to this thing, maybe 2 hours late. But the Pope showed up to bless everybody there, and I thought that was amazing. I was like, that should tell you a little thing about how Italy works, where the church and the gangsters all work together, the mob, because that's what he said he was doing. He said he was paying gangsters.
Yeah.
And he actually showed up, so I thought that was funny. But anyway, so yeah, Death Wish. Eli or Ellie? Everybody fights with me about that. Is it Eli Roth or?
No, it's got to be Eli Roth.
Eli. That's what I always say. I always say Eli Roth, but some people say Ellie.
Who says that? Who is like? What is Ellie? Like, what is that? That doesn't make any sense.
Well,
Eli is at least a biblical.
Well,
name.
in the Jewish community, in the Jewish thing, the name of Ellie, a famous writer back in the 19th. So some people say it's Ellie or Eli. But anyway, Eli Roth, who I did enjoy for a long time. I haven't seen Green Inferno.
I fucking hate Eli Roth.
You hate him, right? So
Green Inferno is one of the worst films the past 10 years.
I haven't seen it. I've been dying to see this film.
Well, maybe it's not one of the worst, but it's one of the worst I've seen for sure.
Him?
Oh my God. I fucking hate that movie.
So
I also fucking hate this one. But
Death Wish?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll say this. When I was a kid, my mom, and again, I think I've said this a million times, but my mom didn't know any better. Just like, back then, they smoke when they're pregnant. My mom took us to see movies to get away from the situation in my house, her and my dad. So she would take us to the local exploitation film theater that showed third-run films. And at the age of 4, I was going to see movies like Death Wish. And violent, sexual, and I love Charles Bronson in Death Wish. It also reminds me of my dad, because my dad and Charles Bronson are almost the same person. If you see pictures, they look like. And it's one of my Death Wish 2, as cheesy and
which is the one that has like that 20-minute shootout in the city.
It's Death Wish 5.
There's that many of those?
There's Death Wish up to 6,
Jesus
I think.
Christ.
But to make a long story short, I love Death Wish. When I heard that Eli Roth was going to remake it with Bruce Willis, I said, I'm going to check this out. And
I'm okay with the fact that this got made.
Yeah. But here's the first thing, and everybody in the film, and people who watch this podcast, people who know about me and Jeremy, and anyone who knows film, that the minute a movie's been pushed back or delayed a release, something's wrong. Now, Death Wish was supposed to come out in 2017, I think. And it got pushed to we're going to push it to November of 2017, Oscar race. And then it came out like in February or March of 2018. And it came and went. I still wanted to see it
for a reason.
And I saw it on Amazon Prime. I'll be honest. I mean, Bruce Willis. I wish he was better at this. Paul Kersey. It was just
phones in. This
it's like
I
just wish he was a better. Like Chuck Bronson is, an architect, and you see how he gets pushed to being this vigilante. I didn't feel any of that with in this film. It's like, all right, the cops are assholes. Yeah. Well, we'll take care of it when we take care of it. And so, but you don't see him like get more frustrated, more angry, like Charles Bronson did. It's just like one day he decides, you know what? The guy drops the gun. I'm gonna take the gun and I'm gonna go off for vengeance. I don't know. I mean, there's some things that I liked. I saw like Vincent D'Onofrio. I mean, what is he doing in the movie? It was stupid. And then they kept alluding that he might be a part of it, but then he wasn't. Elizabeth Shue, I love her. I mean, Adventures of Babysitting is one of my all-time favorite 80s films. I don't know why nothing ever happened with Elizabeth Shue. I mean, Leaving Las Vegas, she should have won the award, but anyway. Other than that, I mean, it's just silly. I wish, it's funny because the original now, Prime has all the original Death Wish movies, so if you want to see Part 5, you can watch it. But it's like, I don't know. I was just I knew I was going to be disappointed, but I just expected more from Eli Roth. I know you hate him now, and I didn't see Green Inferno.
And Green Inferno has a scene where somebody fucking has diarrhea in a cage and another person jacks off to it.
My God.
That
now I
movie
need to
is
see
so
this movie.
juvenile. It's so frustratingly juvenile. Oh man, I hate that movie. There's moments that if you watch that first teaser trailer for it,
it was amazing.
It has everything that works about it.
Yeah, he said it was his homage to the cannibalistic Holocaust and all that.
Perfectly fine with all that stuff, but that movie it's like the problem with him is like he has his he loves horror, but he has like a Michael Bay approach to horror. It's
I like that Michael Bay.
So I wrote a review for this for Death Wish, which is we've already shared my thoughts on Green Inferno, but I said there are a few I can't read. There are a few films in recent memory that I hate more than Eli Roth's insufferable The Green Inferno. Unsurprisingly, his new movie Death Wish is not a step in the right direction. Featuring a comically wooden performance by Bruce Willis and a groan-inducing attempt at moral ambiguity, Death Wish is one of the year's worst films so far and does not deserve your time nor your hard-earned cash. I don't remember the moral ambiguity, that whole, because there's like a moral dilemma that he has, right? I guess it's just there's kind of a ham-fisted thematic element to this that it just doesn't work at all.
Well, because he's a doctor and he's taking lives. Is that the moral dilemma you're saying? Because in the original, it's just classic. A man gets vengeance because the cops can't do anything, so he just goes out. He's an architect, and he plays this like liberal dude in the beginning, but in the end, he's like Dirty Harry style. I mean, that's what makes it different. I mean, if there's a moral dilemma, I mean, throughout the whole film, it's like, you're right. Now that I think about it, I mean, he doesn't act in this movie. Mm-mm. He's reading lines. Yeah, he's not even like, oh, but you take... Like, when his brother says, you're a doctor. And he's like, they didn't do it. And I'm like, there's not like, I know. And,
Yeah, and when I watched Unbreakable after seeing that.
I'm glad.
I was like, man, not right after. I saw that after seeing the... Glass, which we have yet to talk about because Carlos won't.
I will promise you, by next time we sit together, we'll be talking about Glass. I promise.
I think it's now on DVD though. So
yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's no way for you to watch it
with a clock in its walls. I didn't even know he did that.
I mean, at this point, he's just cashing in paychecks.
Well, yeah, I see that was a flop too.
I mean, he had something. He's good in Glass, but we'll talk about that later. But
wait,
anyway,
you talking about Eli Roth or
No, Bruce Willis.
No, I was talking about Eli Roth directed the House with a Clock in its Walls.
Oh, that actually looked okay.
Yeah, that's a kid movie. It's on.
So maybe I don't know. Maybe Eli Roth's going to turn it around. But we'll see. Maybe. I mean, I hope so. I want everything to be good. It's not like I'm hopeful for movies. I just hate Eli Roth's movies. So anyway, but yeah, I think. What was I going to say? Death Wish isn't like a spectacularly. It's not like a terrible film. It's just so flat.
Yeah, it is.
It's
now
like
that you say that,
it's
you're
kind
right.
of a B movie Netflix film at best.
Yeah, I'm surprised it got that released. But anyway,
so
finally,
that's Death Wish. And we'll end the show.
Yeah,
This has been a little shorter. Well, we still have to talk about Game of Thrones.
About Dogtooth.
Real quickly. But yeah, Dogtooth, which is the debut, or I think it's a debut
Yeah,
feature.
it was his first film. Yeah.
I think he did a few shorts or something beforehand, but his first film with any acclaim for sure. And it got him on the map. I think it got nominated for
The
best foreign film, which is fascinating.
Yeah, when I was reading,
considering the Academy just nominated Green Book as the best picture of 2018. It's amazing that just 8 years earlier, Dogtooth. I think it's 2009. Dogtooth came out. 2009. Dogtooth is, for those that don't know anything about it, 2008 is basically, it tells the story of these three children that have never left their childhood home. Yeah. Their father keeps them. It's kind of it's almost like a lot of Yorgos' films. It's set in this kind of unique reality. Like it's not quite. I mean, it's grounded in reality, but it feels a little fantastical in certain ways. Yeah. And maybe it's just the way it's shot and everything. But it's basically these three children. And they're older. They're not children anymore, but they're all probably late teens or early 20s. Yeah. And they have never seen the outside world. The father has almost brainwashed them into having like their own words for things. Like, let me see. I think I made some notes on this. Let me see if I did. But like that, I'm trying to think of an example of some of the words that like. She describes her vagina, and the mom says like she calls it a keyboard because that's the word that they've given her for that. So there's one example. But anyways, they have all these weird rules, and like they kill a cat that gets into the compound. And the father, and this is in the trailer. If you ever see it, it's just
that's what I saw.
Fucking brilliant. But essentially. They murder the cat because they think that it killed their brother.
Yeah, because he says that though.
I think I forget
in the trailer he says
how
that
happens,
yeah.
But at least after the fact, the father covers himself in blood
and says
that this is the worst thing in the world. These they're called a cat, and so they like have this whole scene where they teach the children how to defend against the most evil cat, and it's like they get on the ground on all fours and start barking, and it's so. But then there's all that, which is all funny and kind of lighthearted. But then there's this really fucking dark undertone to all of it, which is like the father is acquiring. We don't know if she's really a prostitute, but it's somebody at the place of where we assume is where he works, is like bringing her blindfolded to the home to sleep with the son. Like he's like basically like bringing sex for the. It's just so weird. And it gets even darker and kind of is basically that person who comes in. The plot of the film is that prostitute. She's not a prostitute. She's just somebody that is just looking to get off, and I'm assuming is paying to sleep with the son, or the father, or being paid to sleep with the son. She introduces the children to kind of immoral acts, and it changes the kids. And because they weren't raised in a normal, like societal household, they act out in strange, kind of violent ways. And the movie gets really fucked up and brilliant. And it's real quick before we move on, is there an explanation of why he isolates them? I don't think so.
Right? That's what I was saying, because I'm reading all this. And I'm like,
I think I think it's just a control thing. It would be my assumption, because he's definitely the like the man of the household. But there's just these brilliant, like in that Yorgos classic Yorgos way, like. There's this great scene where the children are celebrating the parents' anniversary, and they all do a dance. And the main girl, who's great, she's in most of Yorgos' films. She's in The Lobster. She's the one that chokes in The Lobster. Which is great. She's so funny though, and in this and in that, she's the lead in this movie. And she does this like really long dance, and it's all shot like it's like a static shot, and it's like 3 minutes long of her just like tap dancing and then doing these like weird fucking motions, and it's delightfully Wicked, there's a moment in it that made me go, oh fuck! Like I was like watching this in my living room alone and just was like had a physical reaction to a moment in this that is so fucking great. It's like the perfect payoff for the film. It has a great ending.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil too much, but it's so unique and original and fresh, and it works, the entire time. Yeah. It's just, I'm so glad that I finally watched this. I've been wanting to see it for a long time. And it's great.
And where did you see it? Because it's, like I said, it's not on Amazon unless you...
I think because I have a subscription to Shudder.
Shudder, okay. Shudder's amazing, yeah.
Because it's okay. I've seen most of the stuff on there.
They have some good stuff on there, bro.
They have good stuff on there, but if you've seen it, then it's like...
Yeah, well, that's the only thing bad. Like, they have, like, monthly movies, and then next month...
Because you pay for it monthly, and, I mean, they occasionally have, like...
Because they don't do month trials anymore. They only do 7-day trials, but I did it when they did the monthly trials every time I get Glow, and we would watch all the horror films on Shudder.
Like, if you haven't seen... There's a lot of great stuff on there all the time if you haven't seen a lot of horror films, for sure, but, I've seen a fair amount of stuff, so... It's not to brag. I've seen a fair amount of stuff. Well, but they have like stuff like what's Takashi Miike or Mike with the needle with the audition. They have like stuff like that. Like they have like really good like older horror films and So shout out to Shudder. It's a good service, but I think it should be like a few bucks cheaper. It should be like $3 a month. Like.
I agree. Wasn't it $5? How was
maybe it's $5. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
it should be $2 cheaper. That's my pitch. Not my pitch, but that's my suggestion to Shudder. Anyway, all these subscription platforms are tricky because it's like, if you're not providing the value that Netflix or Amazon, like Amazon at least has the whole free shipping thing with it. So that's really the only reason people pay for Prime.
Yeah.
And they're starting to have more original content. They're churning out some stuff. But like Netflix puts out like 2 to 5 shows a month.
Yeah, yeah.
Not including comedy specials and other. I mean, it's like, so I'm paying $12 for that. So like, why would I pay like Disney? Or we're talking about that.
I was going to segue. I was going to say, what do you think about Disney?
It's a good time to bring that up. But like with Disney's thing, it's like it's still like $8, I think, a month, or maybe $10.
It's $6.99 per month, and it's $70 per year. So you can save. You get 2 months free, like DC Universe does.
And it's the problem is they don't have any. I mean, they have plenty of content because Disney owns everything.
But the new stuff, like their original content, is really good. I mean,
is it? I don't. What is there on Disney Channel or like?
You haven't heard about it? The big thing was at the MCU stuff.
I'm not 12. Wait. Fuck you. You're talking about.
I'm not 12. Remember because they have their entire library. That's fine. They also have the TV library stuff like Walt Disney. Like the stuff they did like in the 50s and 60s where they did all his nature stuff, his behind-the-scene cartoon stuff, which no one's seen in over 50 years.
That's interesting.
Then they have all of Pixar's library. And then they have now, of course, the MCU library. Yeah. They have The Simpsons is getting every episode now, which is amazing. And remember, this is uncut, not that shit on FX. And then they have the original content, which... I think the big thing for just like classic Disney is they got the Lady and the Tramp live action series, since they're doing everything now live action with their movies. But they have WandaVision, which is the Wanda and Vision continuing stories. They have Winter Soldier and Falcon, which is the continuing stories of them. Okay, so they have the Loki thing, and then if you don't want that,
none of that's out yet, right?
No, this is all going to be when it debuts in the show. And then the thing that I want it for is the What If cartoon anthology, which my favorite comic book as a kid was.
Carlos talking into the mic.
I'm sorry, but it's What If, which is like What If Spider-Man joins Fantastic Four. It's a good thing that you're talking into the mic.
The joke is that you never do.
I know, that's my point. But it's like that show alone, I want. They also have a documentary called the 616 Universe. Okay. And they're going to talk about the myriad universes, which
I'm wrong.
No. I'm not saying. I'm just saying that for $70, because I said the same thing when Colin was trying to sell me on DC Universe, and I was like, all right, Titans is the only thing I want to see. Now Doom Patrol, and I will say I might do it. But DC,
that solves the problem I have with that model though, is if you don't have any original content, I'm not going to pay
to see
a
stuff.
monthly
I
subscription
agreed. Yeah, to see
for
stuff that you could have
mostly
seen.
films I've seen, but so like I could see it being one of those things where it's like just to get through the back catalog of stuff that I haven't seen, like what you just described.
And the Star Wars stuff. Remember, all those live action Star Wars things they've been talking about for years. It's going to be on this service. So
the problem with this, though, it's a good thing from a standpoint of like being able to get all this content, for from pretty low monthly costs.
Yeah.
The challenge is stuff like what happened with CBS for Twilight Zone, right?
What's the story with that?
So CBS has they have this all access thing.
Yeah.
You can't. I don't think you can watch Twilight Zone on even if you have cable. Like even if
you could only get it on like Discovery. You can only watch Discovery on CBS All Access. So their content is only for that streaming service.
So like the problem is it's garbage because it's still like $5, and I know that like you can get local football games, but everybody streams that shit anyway for free. Not me though, But, it's still it's like I don't know what I would pay $5 for like 3 shows that they have. Maybe
I agree with that. I mean, again, but like you said, like
my point being,
we had this discussion last week, basically
segregating. Like we're getting to a point where like there's not going to be one platform that there might be a platform that comes out that brings them all together, like that bridges, like where you can at least watch all the different apps on like Apple TV or something like that.
I don't like watching stuff on my phone. I can only watch it on the big screen. That's why I didn't get DC Universe, and if Disney doesn't have an app on the TV, I won't get it either. But
imagine a world where there were 14 different like pretty major streaming platforms.
I got you.
Instead of Netflix and Hulu. That the concern. So especially if you have a cable TV subscription, like why would I already pay for cable? Like and CBS is local, but still, it's like why would I pay more? Like I should be able to watch your fucking show on CBS.
Yeah, I got you.
Like it's just, and so that my only concern with the whole Disney approach, which is again at least they're providing more value.
I think it's worth the $7
like
a month.
HBO,
from what I'm seeing,
like HBO, even if you had no cable, HBO, Showtime. Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, Disney, CBS All Access. Like you've got like this is like now it's like 150. It's the cost of cable now.
Yeah. I got you.
And it's like you don't have to have all those things because you can sign in with people's accounts and whatnot.
That's what I was gonna say. Because once I get my Roku, Colin's gonna give me all his passwords, and then because he comes for my daughter's quinceañera, so I'm gonna get all his passwords, and then I'm just gonna stream everything from the Roku. So I'll pay $30 for the Roku. But then I'll get all this stuff for free, so I'm not worried about it. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, it is getting crazy because I said to Ron, I said, if we do get one, it would be the Disney only because of the stuff I dig for the MCU stuff. But again, I mean, I can't see myself paying $70 a month for a year for anything. But I mean, we'll see. I mean,
it's both a good and a bad thing. There's definitely
exactly.
Positives too, because ultimately you're paying for the content you want to watch, not for other stuff.
Yeah.
So. Because if there's nothing on Hulu that I want to watch, then I just don't subscribe to Hulu.
I got you. Yeah.
So that's a good thing, and that's happening with podcasts and with all content. Ultimately,
I know.
Is you're basically essentially self-funding your content.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is good for content creators. Mm-hmm. I think it's bad. It'll ultimately could potentially be bad for consumers in the long run, but we'll see.
Yeah,
we will see. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Game of Thrones.
Yeah, let's do it quick.
What do we want to talk about?
Let's talk about it.
We got a new season.
Well, today is the season premiere of the final season, season 8 of Game of Thrones.
We're both caught up, so if you're not caught up with this is season 8, correct?
Season 8 is the final season.
If you haven't finished season 7, then
don't tune out.
Get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out now. I mean, what do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about like they did yesterday? Who's going to die? Who's going to be
let's get to predictions and.
So have you been?
First off, I mean, are you as excited as I am? Because I'm fucking excited.
I'm very excited. So I can't wait to see this stuff, this junk. I
don't care. Regardless of how it ends, it's going to be so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I just feel like the way that they've the Battle of the Bastards and stuff like that. Just the way that they've continuously. I don't know. I don't know which word it is. They've just upped the ante for what television is capable of. With these amazing set pieces and action sequences that are they're fantastic, right? And it's like I can't wait to see with the budgets that I know they have.
Oh my god, yeah.
And
It's only 8 episodes,
and that which is a great move.
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
We don't need
put all your money.
Easily.
Yes,
they could
all your
easily
money
milk this for
episodes,
30 more episodes, but 8 is perfect because we're gonna get, even if they're an hour and a half. Fuck it, like that is exactly what I want as a film watcher or a movie show person, entertain. not even a buff, just as a consumer. That is what we want. So I'm very excited just to start our thoughts. But what do you think? And I know everybody's had this conversation, so maybe but ultimately it's our show. We can do whatever the fuck we want. So you can just turn it off if you don't want to listen. But who do you think will rule Westeros by the end of the show? First
all right. So I'm going to tell you who I want.
Fair enough.
And who I know will.
Okay.
I do agree that Arya is my favorite character. I want Arya to be coming, that slow shot where she just like covered in blood, sits down, has her sword dripping with blood, and she just sits back and someone says some line like, Your Majesty or whatever, and then the camera goes in slowly and she does this little cool smile. Executive producer Joss Whedon. That's it. That's the end of my show. But I'm going to tell you this right now, and this has already been on the internet now, and I didn't give it any thought until yesterday. But I think it's going to be the Night King. And there's only one reason why. Bronn is the Night King.
Okay.
And it's going to be the Night King is going to end up being on the throne. And that's how it's going to end. Dark and bleak, just like it began. That's how it's going to end. And the Night King will reclaim the throne, and he'll be the evil king, dictator of everything. Even though Bronn is him, it's going to be future Bronn. It's what Bronn began and ends with. It's everything ends with that, and I'll bet you.
So remind me, because I'm gonna actually go home and watch as much of the last season as possible before
it starts in 8 hours. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, well, I'll probably watch the whole season because I think it's only like 8 episodes. The last one.
Last season was 8 episodes.
Yeah, so I'll probably watch all that. But
you better hurry up.
Well, I don't need to watch it live, but thankfully, but. We live in an era where you don't have to watch everything
you can
live.
Watch it. That's true.
I can just turn my phone off. But so anyway, remind me why. And I remember like when the last season ended, going where Bronn is totally got to be the Night King.
Yeah.
What's the reason for that again? I haven't seen it in a year.
Okay, so we all know that Bronn, his destiny began with being pushed out a window, but we find out that Bronn is what do you call that thing? The
I don't remember.
Adam thing, where he can go into animals, and then we find out in season 6 that he can not only go into animals, but he can go into people. And then we find out that when he goes into the Night King, he goes, it was almost as if I saw myself, but the Night King was aware of him. Everyone else is not aware. He's like a fly on the wall. Yeah. But when he goes into Night King did that turn smile and smiles at him and throws him back out. Now, the internet shots of the actor who plays Bronn and the Night Walker, how closely they resemble each other is uncannily eerie. But the fact that we already established that Bronn not only knows the past, he also knows the future, and everything keeps pointing back with the Night King. That the Night King, it's the Night King, that he is ultimately started where he was going to take over the throne and ends where he has a throne. And I just think it's an interesting theory, but I think that that it's going to be a start.
My question, though, and again, I recall this being very clear, but I just haven't seen it in so long. What's the motivation for him? I know that he's almost unaware of the fact that he is the Night King, right?
Agreed, yeah.
But why is that again? I don't remember.
And again, that's something that I don't remember if they've been touched onto it. I think
he can impact like the past and
the
future,
and
right?
because that's what I'm saying. When he goes back in the past, he can change things. And again, the only time he couldn't do anything was when he went into the Night King, but threw him back out. And I think it's and that's why everyone's saying that was the moment where he saw himself, and himself was like, "Hey, bro, we got this," and threw him back out so he wouldn't see that part of the future. But it again, maybe I missed.
So if he is the Night King, though, then what's the motivation for destroying everything and taking the throne?
Because look at all the factors that are involved. You got Daenerys who thinks she's the queen of the throne. You got Jon Snow who's being told that he's supposed to be the king of the throne.
So even though
you got Cersei who is on the throne currently,
he sees it as an opportunity to essentially have to some degree like an objective ruler for the first time ever. And of course the end of all end rulers, because the Night King no one can defeat. Obviously, no one can defeat the Night King. But on top of that, and again, not that he hates his brother. I mean, he loves Jon Snow. That scene where they get together again was a really cool scene. I just think it's like you have all this turmoil, almost like
let's go back to the Watchmen. Ozymandias says, you know what? We're not going to have world peace unless there's a common threat for us to band together.
Sure.
This is kind of like, this is already past that point where I'm just going to annihilate everything. We start from here and everybody comes in. Because again, John, and it's funny, another show was saying, who you think is going to die? There's no doubt that Daenerys is going to die or Jon Snow is going to die, and their love sacrifices each other for that, so that eliminates them too. Cersei needs to die with Arya cutting her throat or stabbing her in the chest, or...
Do you think Arya will be the one to do it?
If Arya doesn't, like they say, if Daryl dies, we riot, I'm going to riot. Because Arya needs vengeance. So far, she's not getting all the vengeance. I mean, other characters are dying on their own or getting killed by others where she needs to do that.
Did you just make a Walking Dead reference? Do people still watch that show?
Some people do. Some people do. I only watched it on Netflix, so I haven't seen the last season. But I did watch last season, and oh my God, I'm so angry at that season. But anyway.
You should stop watching like everyone else.
I refuse. Listen, I finished what I started, all right?
Anyway.
But yeah, so what do you think? Oh, you tell me who you want and who you think.
So I think it really could go one of two ways, right? Which is not a great way to start this, but ultimately, I agree that the Night King could certainly be the way that they end the show.
Yeah, I think so.
And it would be fitting with the way that the show's worked.
Exactly, agreed.
But I think it would be a more interesting ending if that were to happen.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
But at the same time, I do think the show finally needs to reward the viewers for the just brutal, punishment that we've suffered. So, like, for instance, like traditionally in a like a 3-act story structure, at the end of the second act, the characters are defeated or they're down or they're at their weakest spot, which is where we ended in season 7, right? Which is where the Night's Watch gets wiped out by the fucking zombie, dragon, which is conceptually amazing.
That was amazing. It was a great shot.
And so they're at their lowest point right now, right? And so I really do think that, like you said, their only hope is to band together to fight the big thing, right? Yeah. The biggest thing in the way of that is Cersei, obviously.
Agreed.
And I think what they'll do, I think, and this is, again, kind of the traditional boring way of doing it, it would still be exciting because the show manages to find ways to make the material better in every way. But just from a story standpoint, I think you get everyone bands together against Cersei because she's blocking their way to uniting the entire kingdom against this, bigger threat. And I think Jaime's the one that kills Cersei. No,
yes, 100% Jaime will kill Cersei, even though Arya won't get to do it, which pisses me off. But yeah,
or he'll allow Arya to. So I think the ultimate arc for him is to sacrifice himself, and turn against Cersei
because they started this whole
mess.
The
ultimate redemption.
It should end where they end the mess together. That's why I think Jaime will kill Cersei.
And he may not actually stab her or anything.
Yeah.
It may be a situation where he betrays her in order to allow Arya to kill. I don't know.
I agree.
Exactly.
That'll be good.
All the shit will go down.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take that. He she has her in her sights. Jaime comes in with
too much time developing Jaime's character.
And then Jaime she says kill her, and then Jaime says puts his sword down and says no. And then Arya kills
maybe he
her.
fights the mountain and dies fighting the mountain
that'd be good.
to open up the pathway for Arya. That'd be less interesting. I don't know, but I think that's the logical conclusion because Arya, as much as Arya is on a vendetta to kill Cersei because she killed her father, but she didn't. It was Joffrey. So there's not as much of a personal reason for everybody hates Cersei, obviously, and that's fair. But there's not really a reason for Arya to be the one to do it. Whereas Jaime is a more personal. That's a brutal way for her to go.
Then I'll accept it. I'm just saying that Arya, who
there is still the opportunity
them, though. Arya knows that they're in.
She may join everybody's cause. I don't think that'll happen.
Cersei, no.
Because I think episode 7 is when
that
Cersei
would be a betrayal
dies.
of the fans if they make her good. I'll hate that. It's
but even if she's not good, but I think that would be a less interesting. I think Cersei will be the one that in episode 6 or 7 I think is going to be when you have the kind of the Battle of the Bastards, where you have like the big bad goes down, which opens up the opportunity for the night. I think it'll be probably episode 6 when Cersei dies.
Yes.
And I think that'll open up 2 episodes for them to establish and have the final battle with the king of the Night King. But I do ultimately think that Daenerys and Jon Snow will end up ruling. I think Jon Snow will, so I think Daenerys will take
the throne,
take the throne and rule King's Landing, and I think Jon Snow will rule Winterfell, and I think we'll end where we started. Sort of the opening scene is in the north, but I think we'll end where we started in the first episode in Winterfell with is all of the whichever family's left over. I think. So in terms of the Lannisters, I think Jaime dies. I think Tyrion lives and plays the role of basically what he's doing already, which is working for Daenerys. I think Sansa lives.
You think so?
I think Arya lives. I think
you're not killing anybody.
Well, but
you just killed Cersei. That's it, or Jaime.
I think Bronn dies. I think everyone else dies. I mean,
Bronn dies, and then I can't.
I think there's a few not unkillable characters, because you could say that about Ned Stark. But I think I do think this show. I genuinely think that despite the fact that it might not be as entertaining or as punishing of an ending, I think we're gonna get, even in the last season, we're starting to see like the Battle of the Bastards, for instance, which is a great scene. But we finally Jon Stark wins. Like they win that battle for the fans. We won once. We're starting to see kind of the payoffs of like the last season, which I think was originally supposed to be like season 7 part A, right? Or something.
Part A. Yeah.
So I genuinely think they wrote this season as a whole. And obviously, and again, I think like in a traditional story structure, I genuinely think that it's time for our characters to redeem themselves and win.
Yeah.
I think that'll be more satisfying than the Night King just winning. I mean, as much as...
I hear what you're saying.
But I do think they'll find a way to make all of what I just described very interesting and exciting and visually amazing. I can't wait.
Yeah, me either.
We'll see. And I could be totally wrong.
No. I mean, you have valid points.
But I think Daenerys has to rule. I think there's no way they can, because imagine if Daenerys did all of this just to die. It's like, you know what I mean? There's a few characters that have been working. And again, Ned Stark did the same thing. He's a good guy, but like, it doesn't, and it's like, she's a strong female lead. I think HBO would take, and I don't care about any of that stuff, but I do think like, I don't think genuinely in 2019, I don't think like Jon Snow could just rule the throne and kill Daenerys. Like Daenerys dies and I don't think they're going to take that.
And I hear what you're saying, and that's why I'd rather have my ending.
Strongest, most not the most interesting character, but I think she's definitely the one that's trending. Like I think she can rally people.
But I think that's because of popularity. But think about it. Everyone, with the exception of Arya and maybe Bronn. But then if Bronn's the Night
Arya
King,
can't. Arya's not a leader.
But my point was this: everyone has done something wrong.
Yeah,
they can't throw rocks in a glass house, except for Arya. Arya's only been through this from beginning to end, surviving, and with her vengeance, she's never done anything wrong to anyone. She did it with someone bad. It's not like she betrayed. Sansa's been an asshole from the beginning.
I think Arya will live. I don't think she'll die.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, but who ends up on the throne? That's what I'm saying.
I don't think Arya will end up on the throne, though. I don't think. I mean, maybe, but I just don't think.
I'm gonna type it in and tell you what she does.
But the problem, so like you have these huge leaders in Jon Snow and Daenerys. Like Arya has no sense of leadership, like at all. I can't imagine in 8 episodes that they develop her as the leader that everyone wants to rule behind. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense.
They made that little girl. What's her name?
No, she could very well run Winterfell. Jon Snow could sacrifice himself to let Daenerys claim the throne. And then Arya ends up in Winter. I think there's a few unkillable characters. I think it's unless the Night King wipes everybody out. It could happen. Certainly.
It's HBO, bro.
Yeah, I know. And
it's not CBS. If it was CBS, you're 100%.
And that would still be. So imagine if the Marvel MCU ended with the last, with Endgame or with
Infinity War. And I agree with you. Yeah. But wasn't that an amazing ending, bro?
It was, but it was amazing knowing that there's more, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if you have characters you've been with for
but again,
8 seasons.
and you're talking about Disney. So so this is
of course.
And then Disney says, "Oh, but we got another movie where everybody lives happily ever after." If anything, I'm hearing now that
I wouldn't be
another
disappointed
character
with that.
is introduced, another big bad is introduced in Endgame, and that Thanos might be the one to be like, because of him, everyone lives, and he sacrificed himself because he this whole nomadic.
Could it be Adam Warlock, maybe?
Oh, that'd be awesome because they introduced him. They should fucking use him already. I mean, I don't know what they're waiting for, but they also said that Death was in the script for Infinity War, but they said that she might be in Endgame.
But Adam Warlock isn't an Eternal, right? Or is that what the
no? He's not. He's not an Eternal.
So I don't know if he's like. I mean, to go against Thanos and everyone else, I don't think he's
Adam Warlock's the only one who's beat him in the comic books.
Yeah, that's true. Though.
But again, in the comic books,
he was a good guy though in that book, right?
Correct. Adam Warlock has been this omnipresent being, and he ends up becoming more for good than bad. But he has wiped out things. And it's funny because they were talking about the Infinity Gauntlet 2, a horrible, horrible comic book, where Thanos has remorse for the things he's done and ends up joining Warlock, Doctor Strange, Silver Surfer, and everybody to band against the big bad and saving the whole universe.
Mm-hmm.
I hope not, but if they do, I mean, whatever, as long as the big bad they introduce is worse and he does a lot of other horrible things, but that would be too much for one movie. But anyway, yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think HBO is known for having these really fucked up endings. I try to think of a show that ended nicely, like, Sopranos ended on this ambiguous ending we don't.
Yeah, show like but you're talking about like Sopranos. You have all that stuff. All that happened before Breaking Bad, right?
Yeah.
And Breaking Bad has a tragic ending, but it's not like it's the ending it deserved.
Agreed. Even though I wanted Walter White to live, and,
of course,
yeah, but I agree.
But I don't know. So I don't know that like. The Night King wiping everything out is the ending that the show deserves.
All right.
Because I feel like, at least with Ned Stark and all that stuff, like that was it's a perfect way to segue into another series of events, right? Yeah. But there's nothing after this, right? And the Night King, again, you could certainly do a bleak ending like that. But I don't think that that's the way that, like if George R.R. Martin, like the way you develop all these characters and stuff like that, I don't think that that's how you...
The book is so much different.
Yeah, but it's still the same. Like it's essentially the same arc though for most of the characters. It's not. I mean, I know they go about it different ways.
Yeah. Because remember,
in the books, Daenerys is set up to be the or like it's kind of similar, right?
Yeah,
like Jon Snow.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like Lady Stark is alive in the books, not as her, but as this demon witch person who came back from the dead.
Totally.
So and like I said, there's other characters still alive in the book.
But the main big players though.
But yes, I hear what you're saying.
And so it's like you have all the. I don't know. The Night King, like we don't. Like it's just not a. I don't know. It would be.
I hear what you're saying. For the fans, you want the better, more happier ending. And I could say that, but being
a lot of bloodshed on the way there.
We're going to get that. But I'm just saying, I'm unfortunately, I don't know, upbringing or my dark sense of humor. I don't mind a bleak ending because Game of Thrones has been a fucking bleak show. I mean, people die mercilessly, But then there are characters who I'm rooting for.
I'm just trying to think, like, what would be more satisfying, though? You know what I mean?
I agree with you. I'm saying that
at least, like,
my ending, I like in my world, I like my ending where the Starks win. But again, I mean, even if you say it won't be Arya, and that's fine. But I'm just saying that again, my gut feeling is telling us that HBO will end it as bleak as possible. And even if you do win, if you're right, if it is going to be a happy type of ending.
If I win, this is some kind
it's a fight like we always.
Well, and I guess at this point, this is a show that's worth talking about on a week-to-week basis. So when we do our next show, we'll definitely, if we have time, which I can't imagine. I don't think
it'll be 2 episodes by then.
So I'm not going to see a ton of movies.
Let's see, 1, 2. Yeah, it would be 2 episodes. Yeah, by the time.
We'll be at least because we won't have a ton of movies to talk about next time. I don't think because there's nothing in theaters, and I'm going to be in Chicago for the week after.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But anyway, this is we'll change our predictions as the season goes on. But
true.
I'm excited to go home and watch season 7 and get amped up for this next one.
All right.
So, anyway, We never know how to end these shows, but
this was episode 26, guys. Thank you for listening. Like I said, in 2 weeks we'll team up again to discuss a couple of flicks, but more Game of Thrones, it seems like. And so, Jeremy, what do you want to say? Do you have a sign off now?
I don't. It's just goodbye.
All right, guys. You guys take care. Bye.